everyone, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. So today's video, I'm going to go ahead and go through my October reads and my October reading journal. So here are the books that I have read and just some of the entries that I put into my journal. So here we have my cover that I created the end of September. I've got Being Wicked is More Fun, which I have from a craft pack that I got from Michaels that was more on the spookier side. This one here, Spellbound Forest from Recollection. So I had used this with some of these. So I'd used this from that pack as well as this paper here too. So that's the theme that I very much went with for October. Was more of like a spookier kind of vibe. More like the being wicked and kind of thinking more of like witchcraft and stuff like that for October for Halloween. And I've got the little spider as well, kind of tie it all together. I got my classic books read that I usually put on the page with my cover page, and then I have the books that I had on my TBR, which I got 3 out of 4. I'm currently reading The Invisible Life because I decided, you know what, I want to save that as a treat for myself because I really loved what I had read from this book. So I wanted to save it for November as a birthday treat to myself, and then I went ahead and finished the rest of these ones and a couple more up here that I had got. So I read about 6 books in the month of October, which that's pretty good. Not phenomenal. I mean, sometimes I'm reading about 8 books a month, but you know what? I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it for the books that I read, taking a couple breaks here and there and between books and just going at my own pace. But this is the cover page, and we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the pages that I have here. So the first book that I read for the month of October was Bad Monkey by Carl Hiaasen. This was our book club read. This is the one that I picked for the month to read, and it was a pretty good book. It was interesting. It had some points when I was very gripped and wondering what was going on, and then also some points where I was just kind of not. But I find that it was very entertaining. I think it kept me very entertained throughout the beginning of the month when I first read this, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. I have a whole video if you want to check out all of my thoughts, but this is what I had for Bad Monkey. Got my monkey with the cover, my thoughts on it, and then the dismembered arm in the icebox. So that was Bad Monkey for that. Next we got into Verity. So Verity by Colleen Hoover. Seen this all over the place. This is one that was a pretty popular book there for a bit on YouTube and probably Bookstagram and all that good stuff. Had a lot of buzz about this and just how good it was. And honestly, I just think it's Colleen Hoover's writing style. I think she has a very easy to read type of style. It's very fast paced. It's something that you can gobble it up so quickly that I literally practically read some of her books in like a day and I'm completely done, because the chapters are so quick. The way that she writes is just so quick and fast paced that it's very easy to get through her books very quickly. And I think that's part of what makes them so popular, is that they are so easy to read. They're very much kind of just like sit back, relax, and pull out a Colleen Hoover book and be entertained for a couple hours. So I very much think that it held up to the popularity because I think it just fit within her writing style. If you have read any other Colleen Hoover's books, it's very much that type of writing style. I did comment in the video that I made for this book when I did my book review that it is much more of a romance than it ever was a thriller. I found much more of the romance theme going on than any kind of like spooky kind of villainous type thing or scary kind of thoughts or anything. It wasn't really as thrilling. It was more of a romance. But I did create a post here for it, a lovely little entry here in my journal with the house, because she does go to stay in their beautiful mansion-like house that they describe. And I gave this one 5 stars because it was just really entertaining and I really enjoy her writing style and I had a lot of fun. There was some room, I'm sure, for improvement, but overall I got through this really, really quick and just thought it was a really fun read. So that was Verity by Colleen Hoover. The next book on my list is The Witches of Moonshine Manor. So this one was so fun. I absolutely love this one so much. It was such a fun read. Very, very quick again, just kind of like Colleen Hoover, very quick kind of writing style, a bit different in regards to some of the way that the descriptions are and things like that, but overall very, very fun read. This one I picked up on a whim, just going through, saw it near the cache and just had to grab it, and it was very delightful. Very, very much leaning towards like feminism type of theme, girl power, sisterhood, that type of thing, and I just found it so delightful. I love the witches, some of the witchcraft that happens, the heist that happens too was very fun, and it was fun to read from a perspective of older women as well. Like it was very much these women that are in their 80s and they've been witches for their whole lives, and you're just kind of reading a bit of some of their adventures and how they relate to each other and how they're going to bond together and come together to get through some of these issues that they have. So this one was a lot of fun. I don't even think my journal entry does it justice. I think I got a little burnt out on journal entries, or I just kind of like lost some of my spark of when I really make creative ones. Instead, I kind of just use some of the themes. See, like this is from that same craft pack where it's that kind of witchy type of ness, the spookiness with the spiders and the crows and things like that. There is a crow throughout this, so I did think it was fitting, and I did like my little cover here I put with my little cauldron, and I liked having all of the information and the little pictures here and there that I hand drew. But I honestly don't know what would have made this a better entry, because honestly I just don't think I could have really done the book justice, because it's just such a fun kind of playful vibe, but also like very much that sisterhood kind of thing going on, and like connecting with your sisters and loving fellow women and the things that the women go through and stuff like that. So honestly I think this, given the theme, I stayed very much on theme with the October trend, but I almost wish I kind of somehow could have pulled more of like this through, because I really love this cover. This cover is so beautiful, but honestly I had my little cauldron up here and I just had more room for more notes. But this one was 5 stars, completely 5 stars, just absolutely delightful. Might even pick it up someday as a reread, because it was just such a fun thing, and I would love to even see more of these Witches of Moonshine Manor, because they were just such a delightful group of women to read about. Next book was Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Dunn. And again, this is one where I feel like my journal entry just wasn't quite up to par to what this book, how like the theme of this book or anything. I just think I kind of just pasted some things that kind of girly, because it's kind of like this Pretty Dead Queens, that girl vibe. But honestly, I kind of feel like I could have done better in these journal entries, but hey, my thought is you live, you learn. You kind of do what you can, and maybe you realize, hey, it could have been a little better looking back. But I do still feel like it's kind of fun because it just kind of fits with like kind of the YA kind of silly like girl vibe of this. I don't really know what I could have done to make it fit more with the theme, because we really have this girl who is very much dealing with grief, and she ends up moving to a small town that she just feels like an outsider, and then she meets some people. Her grandmother is a very famous author who wrote a book that was similar to a death that happened in the town, and then a new death happens, and the teenage granddaughter is essentially trying to figure out who the killer is. So it's very much a whodunit. The protagonist going through and kind of butting heads with the police to trying to figure out a murder mystery that really they always have no business being part of, especially this girl, when it just, yeah, I have some thoughts on this one. I still enjoyed the book. I still thought it was very fun. I was very entertained. It's very easy to read. Alexa Donne has a very YA style of writing where it's just very quick and very easy to breeze through. She has like some points where you're going through and you're just getting very much an entertaining time. You're not looking for anything too deep. You're not looking for purple prose or anything like that. You're just looking for a straight up good time. Sometimes I do wonder myself if I'm really that interested in murder mysteries. I don't know if it's my favorite genre. I do think sometimes I get kind of like, I'm more of like the character kind of person. I'd rather really see really deep and really engaging characters that make me want to know more about them. And sometimes murder mysteries, it's sometimes hard to pull that off because you have so many characters that you don't want to get too in depth with them, because then it might give away way too easily who the murderer is. So that's sometimes my issue, I think, with murder mysteries, is sometimes you're getting that very unreliable narrator, and it's not always fun when you're really looking to connect with characters and you're coming from like that character driven kind of reading type that I'm looking for. So that's just kind of my thing on what I'm realizing as a reader, is that it's probably not my favorite type of genre just because of that, because it's like I feel like I can't connect with the characters as much. But overall, it was still a fun read, and it was still interesting to kind of go along on the journey and see who did it and why. So that was, and this cover, I absolutely love it. I mean, shout out to the Hilary Duff kind of look-alike here, but I absolutely just, I love it. I love it so much. But that was my journal entry, and I gave it 4 stars. So I have a whole video getting way more in depth on it, and you can check that out. Then I have a delightful read. Such a surprising read that I found. So I had never heard of this author, never knew about this book until I was looking for a October kind of read. Like, I put into Google good books to read in October for like kind of that, you know, Halloween type of vibe, and I found The House Witch by Dalem Hoch, and I just instantly fell in love with this cover art. I thought it was so beautiful. I thought it was so fun and magical looking, and it was like, ooh, I kind of got a little bit of vibes of like Howl's Moving Castle, but kind of like along those vibes a bit. So I went ahead and I ordered this, not really knowing anything about this author or the story or anything, and I was a little hesitant. I was a little like, am I gonna enjoy it? Because I'm not super into really high fantasy type of stories, because I do find sometimes high fantasy can be a little too much. Like, they can get very technical sometimes. They can get very detailed in like their world building, and they can get very much like, I feel very overwhelmed sometimes when it comes to very high fantasy. Like, I am kind of more of a low fantasy reader. I would say the girl finds out she has magical powers, she's just a normal person, and oh no, she's actually like got superpowers or something like that. I kind of do go more towards those. So this one is a whole different world with this individual who has magic powers, and they live in a world where there's dragons and mages and witches, and so it's not like it's like a big huge shock that it's a witch in regards to people having powers. It's more in that just people kind of look down at witches in this world. But I found it so fun. I found it really interesting in that it was a male protagonist that we were following who's kind of having some of these insecurity issues in regards to being a witch and trying to kind of keep people out, but then he ends up falling for a lady in the house or in the castle, and it becomes like more of a romance. I wasn't really expecting the romance side of it, and honestly I was just really enjoying this. It was a lot of fun. It was really sweet to read it. It was a very comforting kind of read, and I just felt like very homey while I was reading it, very snuggled in and cozy, and I think it is a very cozy type of read. I would say this is a very cozy read, and it's something that just warmed my heart in a lot of ways. I was just really happy with it. I found it's much more dialogue driven than plot driven. It's much more character driven. Like, we're definitely seeing more of this character, who he is, where does he come from, and how does he fit into this world, and what kind of his motivations are. So it's very much got this, and the cast of characters that some of them are funny, some of them are delightful, some of them you're just kind of wondering about, but it honestly was just a delight from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised with this one in so many ways, and I would love to get my hands on the next one in this series, because this is actually a series, so it kind of left us in a moment that was very satisfying. Like, I found it a satisfying ending, but it's kind of like, okay, what now? What's going on still? Let's skip back. I mean, I do find sometimes this was such a big book, and sometimes there was so many characters, and with it being more of a character-driven story, it was sometimes hard to get into all of the characters, because there is just this vast world that we're learning about, and there are so many people to kind of keep track of, but they were all very fun, and there was some that were very well done and very interesting, and I just want to find out more about them and see more of what's kind of going on and what's pulling this world together. So I just had a lot of fun with this one. This one was a really good one, and it's definitely a delight that I'm glad I stumbled upon. And then I just made a very simple entry for this one as well. I kind of used this Come Gather for a Spell, if you can see it, is from that same pack. It was actually from the same sheet of paper as the Wicked one that I had for the October cover page, so I just thought it fit really well to fit in with the October theme, get some of that same craft paper, and then just the black craft paper with the gel pen on it to write out that title, and then just some of my thoughts on it as well. So I have a video if you want to know more on that one, but this one was definitely a 5-star read. I loved it so much. And then the last book that I read in October, actually just finished it, was Listening in the Dark by Amber Tamblyn. So this one was a nonfiction, and it was by the actress / poet Amber Tamblyn, who had gathered a bunch of stories from other women, from herself, from people that she knew, and some very interesting and just phenomenal women, that she gathered all these stories together to talk about women's intuition and just listening to our intuition and being able to understand ourselves and trusting ourselves as well. So I thought that that was a pretty cool book to finish off October with, because October sometimes you kind of think about the things that happened to some of the women in the past, because I do when I think about like witches and things like that, because real history that happened there. And so I think just kind of topping it off with this collection of stories from some pretty incredible women and some of the things and trials and tribulations and successes and failures that they've gone through in order to try to find their voice and find their power. I think that was just pretty fitting for this month. And I just thought it felt very much like it fit with my theme. So I'm really happy I read this one. I did get the audiobook version, and I have a whole video again where I get really a lot more into this. I love how this turned out though, with like the dark kind of craft paper. I kind of warred on how do I want this to look, because I had these very nice stickers that are like these dark stickers, and I'm like, well, do I want to just put that on like the white kind of dotted paper that I have in this book? And I had this pack of black craft paper that I ended up just cutting out and putting on here, and then using these stickers, which I absolutely love the stickers so much, how much they pop and just how good they look, especially with the like gold pen that I used, how much it all fits together. And then I used some other stickers. These stickers here didn't show up as well because they were like clear stickers with words on them, so I had to use my gel pen to kind of go over to make them pop more, especially like this light here is me using that with the blue gel pen. But these stickers were just like the black stickers, so they really popped against the black there, because they have this really pretty kind of thing going on with the little stars and stuff like that. So overall, I absolutely love how this one turned out, and I think it's just so fitting for the incredible book it was. So this one was 5 stars all the way, all the way. So that was all of October, and then I'm getting into November. So here's my November page. I do not have any TBR for November, because the only book I really have on my TBR is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I'm already in the midst of reading. It was on my October TBR, so I don't really feel like I need to write it in for my November, because November is my birthday month, for anyone that doesn't know. So I don't want to put any pressure on myself of books that I have to read, or here's what anything. It's anything, maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, I get a couple books for my birthday or something, or I treat myself for my birthday. Maybe someone gives me an Indigo gift card for my birthday. I don't know. And then I'm going to go and just grab some books, and those will probably be the books that I end up reading. So I don't even know what November is going to hold of all the books, or I might even just enjoy Addie LaRue book and got some others that maybe I'll reread, because it's just going to be a cozy read for November. But I took some craft paper from the book craft. I have a book lover junk journal that I got from Amazon, and it's just got like all kinds of things within it, little book references and things like that, and like little pictures of like people reading and stuff. So I took that. That's what this is from. And then I just had some stickers that I'd gotten off of Etsy, of just some book related stickers that I really loved. Like, I work to support my reading addiction, and so this is just me, like my book love coming through. And that's the November, and the book's red, and I just think this is so sweet. And it's such a contrast from like the dark creepiness of October to like, let's have a little bit of light and flowers and prettiness for November before the winter comes in. But this is my next month that I'm going to enjoy and just have a lot of fun with. So that was it. That was all of the books for October that I read, and there is my final cover page again for October, and that was it. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any books that you're planning to read in the month of November. I'd love to hear it. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves, and you will see me next time. Bye!